Alright folks, buckle up because we're plunging headfirst into the swirling psychedelic vortex that is Riders on the Storm by The Doors. You know this tune. It's that eerie, rain-soaked jam that creeps into your brain like a hitchhiker with a shady grin. Even if you're pretending to be too cool for classic rock, admit it. When those thunderclaps hit and Jim Morrison starts crooning about killers on the road, you're hooked. It's the kind of song that turns a mundane drive into a psychedelic thriller. But what if I told you this track isn't just a hit? It's a storm of genius, murder, myths, and enough cultural chaos to make your grandma clutch her pearls. Stick around because we're about to ride through the conception, the madness, the myths, and the mayhem that made this song immortal. And hey, if we get lost in the fog, blame it on the toad-brained killer. More on that later. Let's rewind to late 1970, when the Doors were holed up in their new rehearsal space on Santa Monica Boulevard in LA. Picture this. Jim Morrison, the Lizard King himself, looking like a disheveled poet who's just emerged from a 3-day bender. Because, let's face it, he probably had. The band's in a rut after their previous album, Morrison Hotel, didn't exactly set the world on fire. They're jamming, trying to shake off the dust, and guitarist Robbie Krieger starts riffing on this old cowboy tune called Ghost Riders in the Sky. You know that spooky western ballad about damned cowboys chasing the devil's herd across the clouds? It's got that galloping rhythm, like horses thundering through a nightmare. Morrison latches onto it like a man possessed, which again, not a stretch for him. He twists the title to Riders on the Storm, and bam, the lyrics pour out. But here's where it gets dark and delicious. Those words aren't just poetic fluff. Jim draws inspiration from Billy Cook, a real-life spree killer from the early 50s who hitchhiked his way across America, murdering 6 people, including an entire family of 5 and their dog. Yeah, you heard that right, a dog. There's a killer on the road, his brain is squirming like a toad. Visceral, right? It's like Morrison's channeling the hitchhiker's highway horrors, blending them with existential dread. What if that thumb-out stranger you pick up is your doom? Cue the shivers. And the band? They're all in. Ray Manzarek, the keyboard wizard, grabs his Fender Rhodes electric piano and starts layering in these rain-like sounds, plinking notes that mimic droplets on a windshield. No fancy effects pedals, just pure analog magic. Drummer John Densmore keeps that steady jazz-infused beat, like a heartbeat in a downpour, while Krieger's guitar slithers in like lightning. They even rope in session bassist Jerry Sheff, yep, the guy who played with Elvis, to fill out the low end. Fun fact, this was the first track they jammed in their new spot, and it set the tone for the whole album. As Manzarek later said, it was like the storm just brewed itself. Pun intended, because why not start the humor beats early? If the Doors were a weather forecast, this song would be cloudy with a chance of existential crisis. Now imagine the vibe in that dingy rehearsal room. Cigarette smoke hanging thick. Morrison mumbling lyrics about love and brains and gotta let the kids play, which some say is a nod to giving your inner child free rein. Or maybe just Morrison's way of saying, hey, even killers need family time. Absurd, right? What if Billy Cook had stopped for a therapy session instead? Doc, my brain feels amphibian. But seriously, the song's got layers. Morrison's poetry mixing Freudian vibes with road trip terror. And get this obscure nugget, the thunder and rain effects? Engineered by Bruce Botnick, who mic'd up a cardboard tube for the wind sounds. Low-tech genius in an era before auto-tune turned everyone into robots. Fast forward to the album sessions for LA Woman, and things are getting stormy, literally and figuratively. It's December 1970, and their longtime producer Paul Rothchild bails, calling the early demos cocktail music. Ouch. Imagine telling the Doors they're lounge lizards. So they self-produce with Botnick in their workshop-turned-studio, ditching the fancy Electra setup for something raw and real. Bottles clinking, amps buzzing, and Morrison belting out takes in the bathroom for that echoey reverb, because why not record vocals where you ponder life's mysteries? The album drops in April 1971, but Riders gets its single release in June, edited down from the epic 7-minute album version to a radio-friendly 4:35. Shenanigans ensue. It climbs to number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100, but not without some eyebrow-raising. Radio stations love it, yet parents freak over the killer on the road line, too gritty for the airwaves. Please. And here's a trivia bomb. This is the last song Morrison ever recorded. He heads to Paris right after, and poof, dead at 27 in July, joining the infamous club with Hendrix and Joplin. Coincidence? Or did the storm claim its rider? What if Jim faked it all and is sipping absinthe in a French cafe right now, laughing at us? No, but it's fun to ponder. Release-wise, the single's B-side is Changeling, but the real fun is in the marketing mishaps. Elektra pushes it hard, but with Morrison's antics fresh in memory, like that Miami indecent exposure trial still looming, the band's image is equal parts rock gods and rebels. Obscure tidbit. The album cover features the band squished into a photo booth strip, symbolizing their stripped-down return to roots. No glamour shots, just 4 dudes looking like they've survived a hurricane. And culturally, this track ripples out immediately. It's the sound of the 70s dawn, post-Altamont, where the hippie dream sours into something moodier. Satirical swipe. If Woodstock was peace and love, Riders is peace out, love hurts, watch for serial killers. All right, let's crank up the intensity as Riders ascends to mythic status. Controversies? Oh, plenty. Fast forward to the 90s and beyond. The surviving Doors feud over using the music in ads. Remember when Cadillac wanted Break On Through for a commercial? Densmore sues to stop it, preserving Morrison's anti-corporate soul. But Riders sneaks into a VW ad in the UK, causing minor ripples. Densmore later quips it's like selling your soul for a Beetle. Pun City, folks. And myths? Let's debunk that backmasking nonsense. Back in the 80s, religious zealots claimed rock songs hid satanic messages when played backward. For Riders, some swore you heard Satan in the whispers at the end. Spoiler, it's just Morrison murmuring the title, layered for atmosphere. No devil worship, just clever production. What if we reversed the whole album? Would it reveal Morrison's grocery list? Milk, eggs, existential dread. Culturally, this song's a tsunami. It soundtracks Vietnam War flicks. Think Choppers in the Rain. Even if it's not in Apocalypse Now, that's the end, but close enough. It influences everyone from Iggy Pop to The Cure with its brooding jazz rock fusion. Ripple effects. Punk bands cite it as a gateway to darkness. Hip-hop samples the Keys. Hello, Snoop Dogg's version. And trivia time. Annabelle Lamb's 1983 cover hits number 27 in the UK. A synth-pop twist that makes it danceable doom. Satirical aside, imagine Morrison hearing that. Gotta love your synth. Gotta let the beats play. But seriously, it's embedded in pop culture. Tom Cruise lip-syncs it in movies. Gamers blast it in GTA. It's the anthem for anyone who's ever driven through a storm feeling like the world's ending. Now legacy and lasting weirdness. Riders endures because it's timeless terror wrapped in beauty. Morrison's gone, but the song lives, covered by Santana, Creed, even a bluegrass version. Obscure fact, in 2009 it features in a video game, turning virtual storms into reality. Cultural ripples? It sparks debates on serial killers in art. Think Dexter owes a nod. And weirdness? Fans pilgrimage to Morrison's grave, blasting it in the rain. What if Jim's ghost hitches a ride? Brain squirming like a phantom toad? Self-roast. As a storyteller, I'd say this song's my spirit animal. Moody, mysterious, and always leaving you wanting more. But here's the bang. In a world of auto-tuned fluff, Riders reminds us rock can be raw, rainy, and revolutionary. It's not just a song. It's a storm you ride or get swept away by. So if you're out there on a lonely highway, remember, gotta love your man, even if he's a bit toad-brained. Thanks for riding this storm with me. If you dug the chaos, smash that like button, subscribe for more rock riffs that'll make your playlist blush, and drop a comment. What's your wildest rider's memory? Until next time, keep the doors open and watch for hitchhikers.